Okay, today I'm going to talk about the Zooxanthellae and coral. We have 4 people in this group. They are Lý Khai Huy, Taeyong Jia, Ân Cheng Hee, and Ling Yuchen. So, what exactly are corals? Most structures that we call coral are made up of hundreds to thousands of tiny coral creatures called polyps. The polyps use these tentacles for defense, to capture small animals for food, and to clear away debris. Food enters the stomach through the mouth. After the food is consumed, waste products are expelled through the same opening. Most corals feed at night. To capture their food, corals use stinging cells called nematocysts. These cells are located in the coral polyps, tentacle, and outer tissue. Most reef-building corals contain photosynthetic algae called Zooxanthellae, which is a single-celled plant that lives in their tissue. The corals and algae have a mutuality relationship. Coral polyps produce carbon dioxide and water as byproduct of cellular respiration. The Zooxanthellae cells use carbon dioxide and water to carry out photosynthesis. Mutuality relationship. In addition to providing corals with essential nutrients, Zooxanthellae are responsible for the unique and beautiful colors of many stony corals, which is Zooxanthellae pigmentation. Sometimes when corals become physically stressed, the polyps expel their algal cells and the colony takes on a stark white appearance. This is commonly described as coral bleaching. If the polyps go too long without Zooxanthellae, coral bleaching can result in the coral's death. Because of their intimate relationship with Zooxanthellae, reef-building corals respond to the environment like plants. Reef corals require clear water so that sunlight can reach their algal cells for photosynthesis. For this reason, they are generally found only in water with small amount of suspended material, or water of low turbidity and low productivity. This leads to an interesting paradox. Coral reefs require clear, nutrient-poor water, but they are among the most productive and diverse marine environment. So, why is this topic is important? Coral reefs protect coastline from storm and erosions. Coral reefs provide jobs for local communities and offer opportunity for recreations. So we can have a better understanding of the relationship between microbes and the environment, and we can raise awareness of environmental protection. Next.
Zooxanthellae is a symbiotic algae that belongs to the phylum Dinoflagellata, with Symbiodinium being the most prevalent genus. There are brownish-colored unicellular dinoflagellates with a spherical shape that thrive in symbiotic relationship with corals. They normally range in the size from 6 micrometer to 12.5 micrometer. Zooxanthellae have 2 flagellas, one of which is known to trail in the water, and the other of which coils around the cell. When Zooxanthellae enter a host, their flagella drop off, and this phase is known as the cocoid phase. To produce nutrients for the host, Zooxanthellae have photosynthetic chloroplasts bounded by 3 membranes: a nucleus, nuclear membrane, vacuole, lysosomes, and thylakoid bodies are also present in Zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae are mesotrophic organisms, which means they have a combination of photosynthesis and heterotrophic lifestyles. However, they are mostly photosynthetic. The most prevalent type of reproduction of Zooxanthellae is asexual reproduction through division. Zooxanthellae normally spend their whole life with their host to which they are attached. However, the Zooxanthellae are expelled from the coral when coral bleaching occurs. Most significantly, Zooxanthellae provide the coral with photosynthetic products such as glucose, glycerol, and amino acids. These products are used by the coral to manufacture protein, lipid, carbohydrates, and calcium carbonate. In addition, Zooxanthellae can regulate the amount and type of heat shock proteins, HSPS, produced during a heat reaction, as well as the HSPS produced by the host. Heat shock protein is a molecular chaperone functioning in the refolding of misfolded proteins, thereby contributing to the maintenance of cellular homeostasis. As zooxanthellae are responsible for coral coloration, the coral loses all pigment and appears bleached when they are expelled from their host due to environmental stress, such as increasing temperature. Now we're going to talk about the growth condition and role of zooxanthellae on the Earth. Zooxanthellae are sensitive to temperature rises in seawater, which will demonstrate apoptosis at 30 degrees Celsius. The optimum temperature for zooxanthellae to grow is 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. In terms of pH value, reducing seawater acidity has no discernible effect on zooxanthellae density. Another factor affecting the growth of zooxanthellae is dissolved inorganic nitrogen. Increases in dissolved inorganic nitrogen in the environment enhance zooxanthellae density in host tissue. Zooxanthellae is vital on the Earth because they help the coral survive by providing it with food resulting from photosynthesis. In turn, the coral polyps provide the cells with a protected environment and the nutrients they need to carry out photosynthesis. By preventing coral bleaching, corals can prevent disease, growth inhibition, reproductive impairment, and ultimately ecosystem disruption can be avoided.
Now, let's talk about the role of zooxanthellae in coral health and why they are important. This can be seen when they share a symbiotic relationship that allows both organisms to thrive. So, why are zooxanthellae essential for coral reefs' vitality? Well, first, they are the driving force of energy production in corals by supplying nutrients through the means of photosynthesis. In addition, this microorganism has the ability to consume nitrogen and carbon dioxide from the coral's metabolic reactions, which fulfills the nutrient cycle between the coral and the zooxanthellae, thereby increasing the productivity. One of the significant impacts I'd like to add is that this microorganism indirectly contributes to the distinct colors in the corals. Without it, the corals start to appear white. This phenomenon is what we call coral bleaching. Lastly, they also contribute to the formation of large coral reef framework as coral calcification is directly related to the amount of light. Next, let's talk about the mechanisms that are involved between these two organisms. First, zooxanthellae are a type of algae that are photoautotrophs. As you can see, the algae is part of the coral. This means that the algae get their food through sunlight using photosynthesis, as mentioned earlier. The products released by zooxanthellae after the photochemical reaction is then taken up by the corals in the form of glucose, glycerol, and amino acids. Corals utilize the algae that resides in their tissues by being in shallow waters where sunlight is abundant. How do corals form the complex structures that we are familiar with? To my surprise, it is with the help of algae again. Whoa, that was very fast. Anyways, the process of calcification depends on the algae due to the fact that they provide sufficient energy for calcium carbonate to form. Not only that, the energy is also utilized in the active transport of calcium ions along the cancelloblastic epidermis, which are precursors for the deposit of calcium carbonate. With that, the process of photosynthesis itself shows favorable conditions whereby calcification can occur optimally. This happens due to the intake of carbon dioxide from the algae, thus decreasing the concentration of carbon dioxide and allowing a higher pH site. Next, the zooxanthellae also removes phosphate, which usually inhibit the creation of calcium carbonate crystals. This is a significant impact for the building of coral reefs as this increases the output of calcium carbonate deposits.
This slide will be the outcome of interaction between the zooxanthellae and the coral reefs. Carbon dioxide and water are byproducts of cellular respiration in coral polyps. The Zooxanthellae cells use carbon dioxide and water from coral polyps to perform photosynthesis. They provide the coral with photosynthesis products such as glucose, glycerol, and amino acids. The relationship between Zooxanthellae and the corals is considered as mutualistic symbiosis, which means they benefit each other. This relationship facilitates a tight recycling of nutrients in nutrient-poor tropical waters. Indeed, up to 90% of the organic material photosynthetically generated by Zooxanthellae is transported to host coral tissue. This is the driving factor underlying coral reef development and productivity. Corals can grow successfully in tropical water because of the existence of these algae. In fact, coral reefs would not be the abundant ecosystems we observe and rely on today if this interaction did not exist. This is our last part of our presentation, the impact of changes on humans and the planet. Healthy coral reefs assist in the seeding of the ocean. Shelter and food also provided by coral reefs to a complex network of marine life that leads all the way up to mankind. First of all, coral reef may affect the global livelihood. Coral reefs provide products and food to half a billion people throughout the world. Some people also rely on them directly for their livelihoods. This is especially true for citizens of Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Mexico, Australia, Japan, and Saudi Arabia who live near the shores of these countries. The two major livelihoods will be affected by coral reef are fishery and tourism industry. People who work in the fishing sector would lose their jobs if coral reefs did not exist because a quarter of the world's fish reside near them. We will lose one of our source of protein because fish provide 20% of the world's protein. Moreover, coral reefs are also contribute tourism a lot. Divers and snorkelers love seeing marine life on coral reefs, which are found in 100 different nations and areas. Without coral, coastal tourism will decline by 9%, resulting in a revenue loss of $36 billion. Furthermore, coral reefs play an important role in global oxygen production. Coral reefs play a crucial role in establishing the environment that allows marine plants in the ocean to manufacture oxygen. This oxygen sustains not just the undersea existence of marine species, but also the lives of all terrestrial organisms, including humans. Marine plants are responsible for 50 to 85% of the air we breathe. In the last 50 years, the volume of ocean water that no longer holds any oxygen has expanded fourfold, while the overall amount of oxygen in the ocean has decreased by 2%, and this may affect many marine lives. That is the reason why we need to protect coral reefs from destruction. Lastly, coral reefs protect the shores from storm. Reefs shield coastal areas from the destructive force of the ocean wave. They reduce the strength of ocean waves by 97%, and 62 million people living in the coastal areas near coral reefs would be at risk of property destruction if the reefs were not present. In conclusion, Zooxanthellae play an important role in maintaining coral reef health since they are mutualistic symbiosis. Healthy coral reefs may benefit humans and this planet. They may support in absorption carbon dioxide as possible to reduce carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. Coral reefs also benefit tropical nations' economies, food supplies, and coastal people's safety. Hence, protection of coral reefs is necessary because the destruction of coral reefs would have disastrous consequences.
Here are the full list of the references that we've used in this presentation. We've reached the end of the presentation. Thank you for watching.